Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're continuing on with The Guardians of Ga'Hoole by Kathryn Lasky. So if you have not seen the previous videos or, read the book series, go back, watch the beginning. This is The Golden Tree. This is book 12. So, it's an interesting book. So here we have Soren and the band decide to leave, or not, and with Corin, who's feeling weighed down a little bit. He's obsessing over the fact that his mother might be some monstrous creature, besides just being a monstrous owl, some sort of monstrous creature. And he decides, Soren's like, okay, let's go out. Let's just kind of do some exploring. Let's see what's going on a little bit. Because he realizes his nephew's becoming obsessive and depressed. So it's like, let's get together, grab my friends, let's get out of town. So they go to Parliament, and basically they say, it's like, we're gonna leave for a little bit. We're gonna take Corin. We're gonna go out. We need basically people to keep an eye, and they're very concerned about the Ember and being obsessive about the Ember. And so he's like, okay, we're gonna set people guard. It's gonna stay in basically his sleeping quarters, and various people are going to keep an eye on it, including some of the nursemaid snakes. Now there's a group of these owls that are very, very obsessive. They want to be this elite guardians of the guardians, and very, very obsessed with the Ember, which is slightly concerning, and that continues throughout this book. And so they're a little obsessive. Corin, like, no, it's staying where it's at. You guys can watch it periodically, but that's it. Otherwise, it's completely safe. I'm not dragging it around with me, because that's stupid. So they leave, and the band tells him how various different times they sneaked out, how they met this, they were looking for basically remnants of old human habitation. The Others is what they call them. And they hear this music, and they follow it to this place. And they meet a owl by the name of, let's see, what's her name? Bess. Now, Bess is a Boral owl. She is the daughter of Grimble, who helped rescue Soren and Griffey back when they were in St. Agnes, or St. Aggie's. And he only did this, he was only there because he was trying to protect his family, because otherwise they were going to take them. And yes, there's a Calico right here. Calico. Stop being annoying. Calico. Annoying Calico. She's very old. But moving on. So they tell him about her. Don't bite. And how the place that they are at, used to be a university, and there's lots of books and maps from places that are not owl land. So that was beyond the beyond, essentially. So, So it's kind of interesting. They tell that toll, and he feels like he has to leave. So again, Corin feels he feels like he's damaged because he thinks his mother is one of these monstrous owls from the past. So he goes out, he leaves, he sneaks away, and he runs into Trader Mags, who's the magpie who gathers things. And he sees he has a very, very interesting book. So that book belonged to that old magician owl back from Hole's time. And it was part of the legends. And so he realizes this is sick. So he gets back. He gets obviously scolded by his uncle. Like, don't go wandering off. You're the bloody king. We're supposed to protect you. He tells them. So they go on a mission to try to find Mags and this book. Well, they've sold it. And now they realize, okay, you've sold it to one of the henchmen of Corin's mother. And they're afraid what's in this book will allow them to transform other things. So they go to the Beyond, run into the wolves, because that's where they're going, and start attacking to them. And they talk about their own legends, and how, yes, they have these weird creatures that are still existing, that are similar to these ancient evil owl creatures, and they're essentially monsters. And so they still exist, and they're evil. And of course the owls are evil. And then they're searching for, it's like, okay, we have to go where Soren's brother's bones were, and how they had burned their bones back previously when Corin was still a relatively young owl before he escaped his mother. And in fact, it was in those bones that Corin realized, yeah, what really happened to his dad. So there's a big battle there. They're going after the bull because she's trying to. What on earth is his mother's name? I can't remember her name. So go back. Luckily, they list the books. I think I would have kept track of her name, but let's see. No, we're not going to list Mom's name here. But yeah, so his mother is trying to recreate him, essentially. She's trying to recreate her son. That's her goal, is to use these, but she can't understand this. There's a lot of pictures they can't actually read it. They end up in a big battle here, and basically Corin's not quite sure what's going on. His mother has him pinned, and it's like he invokes the power of the ember, and she doesn't quite die, she just kind of disappears. And it's like her spirit is wandering. She's not really dead, she doesn't have a body. Somehow she's destroyed by the power of the ember, which for some reason, despite being very, very far away from him, he possesses. So it came through him. So Mom's disappeared, things fall apart, and shortly thereafter, one of the nestmates, one of the old owls, shows up. One of their old teachers, Miss Madame Plonk. She's a snowy owl. Now, what's been going on back at the tree? Bad things. Very, very bad things. So the tree's kind of been golden, and there's been a group of owls who have been essentially trying to worship the ember. And yeah, they are worshiping the ember. They're worshiping its ashes. They've created various rules. They've taken it away from Corin's hole. They've imprisoned Odalissa because they wanted to do Madame Plunk's. She has a teacup with Queen E1 on there. Mentally, to us humans, understand this was a teacup from Queen Elizabeth I. So it could have been Elizabeth II, probably Elizabeth I in this case. But who knows, considering. But they had basically, Odalissa hid it for this snowy owl, and they came and took it from her and imprisoned Odalissa. And then shortly, not too long thereafter, around the same time Corin is having a fight with his mother, you turn out later, Primrose, who was a friend of Eglantine, Soren's sister, is in prison because she was transferring the ashes, and all of a sudden the ember changed because, again, it was possessing Corin. And so they imprisoned her. And so Madame Plonk and one of the other older senior owls that had taught the band when they were younger get together, and he's like, you have to go to Beyond and find the band and bring them back because these people have gone crazy. Yeah, they're doing all sorts of various different rituals and very odd things. They're imprisoning people, and they're kind of freaking out and worshiping the ember as if it's some sort of god, and that it's the most important thing in all the world. So Corin gets back with the band, and he is pissed. He yells at them. Him and the band tear everything. All this, basically think of basically a Catholic church where they're just kind of worshiping a false idol, so to speak. And they've pretty much gotten all the glory and decorations everywhere. So the band just destroys everything. It's like they tear everything down. Corin calls with Soren and his band, call together Parliament, and he yells at them. He yells at them. Like, the moment they show up, it's like, get Odalissa out of prison. Like, now, destroy these bars. Like, what the heck are you doing? There's a prison in the tree? No. This is a bad idea. And basically, he chews them out. And they're like, what are you going to do with us? It's like, I don't know. Go back to your quarters until I deal with you later. because you're annoying. He doesn't quite know what to do with him, and that's not solved by the end of the book. What they do is they ask Alyssa, it's like, what they had this book, they've gotten hold of the book, and she's like, I have no idea how to read this. Bess might. She's the only one who could even remotely read this. This is a very, very old language. We have no way to translate this. She will. And then they're like, what the heck do we do with this bloody hammer? And she comes up with the idea. They go to, this is one of the older owls. He's the smith. Whose name, I'm going to pop up his name here. I think it's Martin, but that could be one of the other ones. No, that's not him. So, no. I believe it's B something. It's been a while. So, but they go to him. He's the smith. He's the smith owl. And they decide to hide it with him in a bunch of old coals. Because it's like, we're going to hide it in plain sight. We cannot have this worshipped ever again. This is a very, very bad thing. So, that's what they decide to do. And that's pretty much the end of this book. So, essentially, they have to figure out, it's like, we're trying to do this, and then it's late. My toddler had a temper tantrum getting out of a bath tonight, so this is later than normally I shoot. So sorry for the yawning here. But, and then of course the other thing that happened is one of the young wolves that we had met, Cody, in previous, back with Soren, back when they originally got the Ember. He's killed, getting the book away, and Twilight nearly dies. Soren has to go and get the eagles and their poisonous snakes to come rescue him. So Twilight nearly dies, but he is obviously brought back. And then he's part of the band, so he can't die. But this pup has. So my cats are being weird. I'll deal with that. So that's really the end of this book. So the next book in the series, I believe, is The River of Wind. And I'm going to be doing that in ebook. Because, again, unfortunately, these books are no longer available in physical print. So I get them how I can. My library has gotten the ebook copy. And I think I have to do that with another copy. To Be King, the previous book, was also that way. Though I ended up buying that one. So that is the end of this video. If you like what you see, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I'm covering all of these books. I may cover some of her books later. We'll definitely think on that. I have a good library of stuff. This is being shot in February of 2022. By the time you guys see it, it will be late 2023. I film these things when I can. So by this time I will have a good library. I do a little bit of traveling stuff. I do a little bit of secular homeschooling stuff. As of this video, my daughter is 2.5. By the time you guys see this, she'll be 4, which is shocking to me. So we'll be definitely ramping up the homeschooling stuff by the time you guys actually see this, because she'll hit 4. And I'll be reviewing that. But otherwise, check out the rest of the channel. Look at all the videos. I do children's books. I do series like this. As well as various kind of older educational stuff, depending, as well as various different films. Some are fun, some are more educational. It depends. But I have a good library of that stuff available to you. So like and subscribe, check out what I have coming, and leave a positive comment if you have one. Thank you.